Hi Stampers, this is Judi Anderson with JudiStamps.com. Today I'm bringing you a little Valentine card that is made with our Follow My Heart stamp set out of our new Occasions catalog. If you haven't gotten your catalog yet, make sure you visit my website, JudiStamps.com, and shoot me an email and let me know that you want it, and I will send it off to you today. Now, to start with this card, I kind of looked at the stamp set and I just love the Eiffel Tower. I will be bringing you another project soon using that and some of the other stamps in this. But for today's card, I am using this layout. Isn't this just cute? I just love doing something like this with the words, and I did switch out the colors a little bit for the card today. My Designer Series paper that I'm using is the Kaleidoscope Designer Series paper, and the colors that coordinate with it are Basic Black, Bermuda Bay, Crushed Curry, Strawberry Slush, and Whisper White. I do want to make a little bit of a note here. I did not use the Bermuda Bay cardstock here because when I first looked at the colors, I thought, ooh, Tempting Turquoise would go with it also. So I switched up a little bit and used the Tempting Turquoise in this particular card. But for today's card that I'm going to show you, I'll leave this one here so you can compare it a little bit. I am using the Strawberry Slush cardstock, folding it in half, which I've already scored it, and with my bone folder making a nice crisp fold. I'll set that aside. Then I have a piece of Basic Black. My Basic Black is 4 by 5 1/4. That's going to be my main mat. Then I have a piece of Whisper White that is 3 3/4 by 5 inches. Now I'm going to tell you a little secret. When I cut this one, I cut it 1/4 inch short, but since I'm putting the Designer Series paper over it, what I did is I scored where I want it to line up so that I know where to put it. So I'm going to start out with my snail adhesive and attach that Designer Series paper. I just love, 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 love patterns, as most of you know. Polka dots, it's probably my favorite, followed up by stripes. The chevron, I'm growing to like a little bit more. Okay, so I put that on there. Now my next step I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp my words. Now I want to show you my little secret here. I'll move this piece of paper for a minute. I am using our acrylic blocks, and then you'll notice that it does have little squares. How I got those on is I'm using our Clearmount Perfectly Placed guides, and to show you what those look like, it's right here. And there's different sizes to fit different blocks. I put them on most of my blocks that I use on a regular basis in my home and at my events. So you're going to have that on one side, and then I'm going to place my stamp on the other side. And when I do that, I am going to line up the top of this banner that says True to this line right here. So it's the top, and that's how I'm going to get my spacing for my words on my card. When I do this card, people will ask me, how did you do that? And that's exactly how I did it, is using those perfectly placed sorry, those perfectly placed things. Now I am using Strawberry Slush. I decided not to use the Bermuda Bay. I wanted to stick with the color palette from the 2013 to 2015 in colors with this, and your Coastal Cabana will coordinate with this also. And that's one of the things I love about using Stampin' Up! Is products, is because even though it says one color, it coordinates with more than one color. So if you don't have it, you don't have to panic right away. You can use other colors with it. Now the other thing I'm going to do is line this up. And the reason I lined this up with this line here is that's going to make my spacing for my words on the card. And once again, instead of starting with the turquoise, I'm actually going to start with the Strawberry Slush. And I'm going to line the top of the block up with the top of the cardstock. And by placing that down straight. I know it'll be straight. I never remove my grids once I put them on because I do line them up with my mat here. If you have our paper placemats, you can line up your lines with that also. Now for this next one, I'm going to line the top of the block with the bottom of the L and just visually line the words up. Once again, grab my Stampin' Scrub here, clean it off, wash and dry. Now I'm going to grab my Coastal Cabana ink and ink my stamp up. And for the last time, once again, lining up the top of the block with the L and then just visually line up the word and they will be straight. Okay, clean that off and set that to the side. Clean up my ink pads. That's it for that stamping. Now for the verse, I went ahead and I've done it ahead of time. I took the another verse out of the stamp set and it says, I followed my heart and found you. And using the Coastal Cabana and the Strawberry Slush and the, it's pistachio pudding? Yes, the pistachio pudding color. I colored the stamp and stamped it, and then I cut it out with the decorative label punch. I did want to share with you on how I back this up because everybody always says you don't have a punch that layers it to the next size. No, we don't. So what I do is I cut off these little tips on the label punch, and what I did is I punched it and only punched half. You can punch it out a hole and then cut it in half if you want, but I find that using up my scraps, once again, which I love to do. Okay, then what I'm going to do is line up, put a little bit of snail on here, and then I'm going to line up my labels with the back of this, lining up the punch and deciding how far out I want it. I'll start with the two ends first. Get those. Now I am going to stick a little bit more snail on the basic black here. And it doesn't matter that you go above on the sides because when you put this piece on, see how that works? People will never know. In fact, I have to point this out to people when they ask me how I do this. And they go, well, no, yours doesn't have little lines. Well, if you look really close, you will see the little lines and the overlaps. Okay, now the next thing I used on here was our grosgrain ribbon, and this is the basic black, not grosgrain. It's the 1/8 inch ribbon, and it's lined up next to each other, and I wanted to show you how I did that. So taking my cardstock again, I'm going to put some snail on the back here. And then I'm taking my basic black ribbon, and this is the 1/8 inch taffeta ribbon, and it's really nice. It's got like a white line, but I felt that I wanted a more of a presence with the black ribbon. So what I did with the first one is I'm just lining it up here along the edge, then taking my ribbon scissors, because they're sharper. I don't ever use my ribbon scissors with paper. Okay, so that's the first one. And then I'm just going to butt this next one up right next to it. Taping it on the back. Oops. Just like that. And lining it along that and taping it on the back. And that's why I've got that tape the back. And so now it gives you the appearance that it's a wider ribbon than it actually is. Okay, now that I have my stamping done and I know I didn't make any mistakes, I'm going to go ahead and put my snail on here and get this attached to the basic black. This is a very, very quick card. Just centering it on that basic black mat, taking my basic black mat, putting some snail on there, and centering it onto my strawberry slush. We're almost done with this card. Do you believe that? Okay, now I'm going to take my, my dimensionals fell down off my counter here. I'm going to take a couple dimensionals and put it on the back of my verse. Take those off. And voila. There's the card. But you know me, I like bling. So I'm going to add a little bit of bling by taking our rhinestone jewels, and I'm going to take the two large ones and put one there and put one here. And I thought, though, the love needs a little bit of bling over here too. So I'm going to use a small one on the tip. And actually there's like a little ball on the end of that love. Oops. Dropped it in the wrong place. Okay. Little stinker doesn't want to go where it's supposed to go today. There we go. Now I want this one to stand out a little bit more, so I'm going to use the medium one on that one. It's a different color, which helps it stand out. So there you go. You have two versions of this card. You've got one with the strawberry slush base and one with a tempting turquoise base. I hope you enjoyed today's project. Be sure to visit my online store. You can go to www.judistamps.com, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for showing up today. Bye-bye.